When the final bell faded, the school forgot how to breathe. Every lesson, every answer, every curious mind had fled to the safety of streets and screens, but a handful of footsteps lingered. The caretaker lights clicked into a dull amber gloom, too weak, too indecisive to push back the stories that float in the rafters. A storm thickened outside. Rain smacked the windows like impatient fingers. Thunder rolled beneath the foundation. 4 students remained for detention, stragglers, of ambition and accident, unaware that the entire building had already shut itself down. Their teacher's voice, weary and procedural, promised just an hour more of silence before redemption. Then the door shut. And with that sound, they were alone. The omniscient observer, who might be the school itself, sensed a pattern repeating, a noise, a spark, a missing hour. It whispered through vents and corridors, the way dust travels through light. Every building has a memory. Some store knowledge, some store screams. The difference hangs on the integrity of a closed door. The storm answered by slamming those words into the glass. Inside, time trickled like syrup. One pen dragged across paper. Another hand tapped an eraser to stay awake above them. A strip of light buzzed. Spotted, died, revived. The air sharpened with the metallic tang of ozone. Boredom, an underestimated form of curiosity, birthed the question that would unmake the night. They began to speak softly, as if afraid of offending the building itself. Each rumor replaced the last. The disused classroom, the missing number, the girl no one graduated with supposedly. The west wing contained a sealed door, room 404, a number omitted, from every modern blueprint, but still engraved into the concrete foundations from an older time. They laughed the story away until one student pointed out the strangest thing between 403 and 405. The hallway indeed took a sudden corner, as though dodging something invisible. Amusement swelled, skepticism frayed. The storm outside drummed Morse code for go on. A small digital camera, contraband saved from confiscation, rested on the desk. Its screen flicked, and for a single electric heartbeat displayed a dark corridor ending on a door sign 404. Then the screen went black again. Myths evolve like viruses. They need warmth, noise, and witnesses. Lock 4 teenagers in a wet building, and they will conjure anything, including truth. The decision to explore appeared sudden, yet it had been forming for years, in every story told about forbidden wings and disappeared teachers. The expedition began with one brave smirk and 3 reluctant followers. Outside the classroom, the hallway yawned longer than logic allowed. At first, the difference was minor. A few extra lockers, a wider floor tile. Then the geometry folded quietly under their footsteps. The walls exhaled a steady hum, as if the pipes beneath were chanting. Posters blurred into unreadable slogans. The smell of dust thickened until breathing felt like inhaling paper. Lightning strobed through high windows, momentary, surgical. Hex-rays of terror, revealing that even the dust motes seemed to pause when observed. Behind distant doors, desks creaked, though no one sat there. Light retreated with each step. The corridor's end delayed itself, moving further away like a mirage pretending to be architecture. You never notice a building's appetite until you realize you are walking inside its throat. They reached the terminus, a blind wall where a maintenance sign once hung, and in its heart sat an old wooden door with a tarnished brass. Plate 404, the E digits shimmered faintly whenever lightning pulsed. The air temperature dropped. Breath became visible. The seal all around the doorframe looked unbroken, yet sound leaked through it. The soft, repetitive cadence of something dripping or breathing. For a long moment, no one dared touch it. The current of adulthood might have pulled them back then, but adolescence always leans toward catastrophe. The thunder gave permission. The knob turned. Light from their devices entered the forgotten volume. Dust glittered like the tail of a dying comet. Rows of desks faced an antique chalkboard, half devoured by moisture. Some doors are not kept closed to protect those outside, but to contain what remains inside. The room greeted them with an uncanny order, as though class had ended only minutes earlier. Notebooks lay open mid-sentence, ink still crisp though decades had passed. A pair of shoes waited neatly under the front desk. A water stain on the back wall resembled a face, not drawn, not random, just observing. The hum from the corridor followed them, folding into a deeper vibration. Fluorescent fixtures overhead blinked once and steadied to a sickly green. The air smelled of chalk and something sweeter, rotted behind time. Static crackled from the camera, the artificial ear of a curious age, meeting the magnetic memory of the past. The image distorted, skipping frames. Yet even through the distortion, a new shape appeared among them, the outline of a fifth figure standing in the second row. They turned, but nothing stood there. Only drifting dust and that face-shaped stain, smiling wider now. Every forgotten room rehearses how to exist again. It waits for weight on its floorboards, breath on its air. Revival is another word for haunting. It began softly, a muffled crying beneath the relentless drip of rain. Cold rippled outward from the back of the room. Papers trembled in its breeze. When the nearest flashlight cut through the gloom, it froze on a figure, a girl, maybe 15, drenched as though she had walked through the rain, uniform far older than the fabric patterns used now. Her hair hung over her eyes, plastered to her cheeks. Water pooled around her shoes, though the floor had been dry a moment earlier. They thought she was hurt, lost, real. Then she raised her head. Her face refused focus. The pupils stretched horizontally, vertically, flickering like a bad signal. Her mouth moved, but multiple voices answered. You shouldn't look for what the school erased. It remembers you more easily than you remember yourselves. Desks screeched backward, though no hands touched them. Cold rolled off the walls. Lights shattered one by one. Ghosts are not souls of the dead. They are memories that learned how to imitate breath. Darkness flooded the hall. The only light came from the camera dropped onto its side. Its red record light blinked in panic rhythm. Through its cracked lens, the world trembled and convulsed. Desks rose. Papers spiraled like frantic birds. Shapes peeled from the walls, copies of the intruders, transparent and screaming. Time fragmented, each second replayed twice before continuing. The screams merged with the rumble of thunder until both became a continuous engine of noise. Words scrawled themselves across the chalkboard in frantic speed, then burned away in blue flame. Stay out. The wind changed direction. Impossible. Inside a sealed room, and the floor buckled as though breathing out the living. One by one, the lights of their phones blinked out. Then silence so loud it dented reason. The building absorbed them the way a book absorbs a fingerprint. Not erased, just pressed deeper than sight. Sunlight fell through the blinds with perfect innocence. Birds trilled. Traffic murmured. Order restored itself over the ruins of terror. The caretaker opened the main doors precisely at 6. In the detention room, a single student sat slumped, head buried in crook of arm. The teacher entered, half smiling at the dedication of youth who fell asleep amid sentences. He woke the student gently. Confusion clouded both their faces. The desks were 5 again, though no one remembered bringing extras. Footprints led from the corner toward a wall that lacked a door, and the camera, an unfamiliar one, rested neatly on the table, still recording nothing. Reality resets with daylight, yet its film never stops running. The loss persists as edits in a reel no one plays. Outside, the storm's afterbirth hung as mist. Deep in the west wing, behind a blank wall, a heartbeat of electricity pulsed once, twice like knuckles brushing glass. That evening, while the building hummed with ordinary lessons, a janitor found the camera. Curiosity triumphed over procedure. He pressed play. The screen showed corridors he did not recognize, marked by a number sequence missing from the timetable. On the screen, students explored. Then light flared. He dropped the device. When it struck the floor, the image changed, a fixed view of a door nearing itself. Every hinge groaned. Every pixel warped around the brass numbers 4-0-4. The door closed slowly, firmly. Afterward, silence. The counter kept running, recording nothing except a faint rhythmic tapping, as though someone were politely asking to come out. Buildings dream at night. Some dream of those they taught. Others dream of doors they almost forgot to seal. The screen blackened. The janitor's reflection lingered longer than it should have, then stepped out of frame while he remained standing still. Days returned to normal quicker than sanity permits. Students whisper about power fuses, false alarms, a minor flood cleanup in the West Wing. Administration insists there is no West Wing. Fresh paint blooms where cracks once showed. Schedules remain tight. Eyes avoid certain corridors out of inherited instinct. At dusk, the janitor locks every visible door. Yet one key on his ring has no matching lock. He keeps it anyway, afraid to discard it, sure it might still fit somewhere he cannot quite remember. And within bricks baked 40 years ago, something aware hums contentedly. It feeds not on fear but on attention. All it needs is one more rumor spoken after final bell, one more pair of steps echoing when halls should be empty. Some architecture doesn't age, it ripens. Each name carved on a desk is a seed. Each secret whispered in detention is rain. Give a school enough of both, and it will grow its own ghost. Lightning blooms again on a clear horizon, illuminating windows that shiver like eyelids. Then darkness,